Is H1Z1 a game worth buying, a game worth supporting, and a game worth playing? These are all the questions I'm going to try to answer for you guys today in my first impressions video for the title. I didn't want to make a first impressions video right away, like everybody else did, kind of jumping in, unexperienced, killing some zombies with a makeshift bow, doing some basic looting, until the game has actually kind of settled in for at least a week, and I can get a number of hours played. I currently have 60 hours played, and I'm going to be talking about my experience playing H1Z1 and breaking it down to graphics and performance, survival, items and looting, player interactions, base building, zombies, and vehicles. Graphics and performance of H1Z1 are by far one of the most impressive attributes for the title. You can log in with not much infrastructure on your computer. You don't need a computer like other survival titles to actually run it. It's not too CPU heavy. It's very GPU based. So you're not going to be experiencing any types of lag, even in cities with hundreds of people that are playing on the same server. So you can constantly get 60 frames per second or higher. You can even stream it at 60 frames per second or higher, and not notice any performance drops depending on how many zombies are chasing you, players that are hunting you, or items that are located on the map. Performance is just a non-issue with H1Z1 right out the gate, which is a huge asset. The graphics are unique to the series. It's not as beautiful as other titles as DayZ standalone whenever you're sitting there and the sun is nice and setting and you can see far out in the distance. The rendering distance for H1Z1 isn't as far as some of the other titles that are out there. However, it's still very strong and almost not noticeable at all. The graphics and environment for H1Z1 are superb. You have rolling fog that comes in and out, you have rain, you have weather systems, you have blue skies, nighttime isn't too dark, so it's just dark enough actually. So you're running around and you're gonna need your flashlight, but it's not dark enough where you cannot see. So it's a perfect balance with that. And they're constantly gonna be adding new things like snow, which has been recently announced, which looks really cool. It's also evident that H1Z1, the development team, is not going for absolute realism. They're going for fun. Now, it's great to get into the games where they push realism as much as possible, but it's clear that they're not going for the highest resolution gun textures. They're not going for the highest resolution character textures. They're just going for things that feel fun to them. And it's not going to be a real life clone of a game. Let's leave that to some other titles that are in the genre to do that. They're just trying to make a really fun survival MMO game, and I think they're already succeeding in doing that. In short, the graphics and performance of the title are extremely well done for a week 1 early access game. I can't tell you how many titles that have come out over the last 2-3 years that are in the survival MMO genre where the performance is complete shit and the graphics and the textures of the items that are in the game are completely abysmal. So H1Z1 has that going for it right out the gate. Let's talk about survival. So to survive in H1Z1, you have to keep your hydration, your energy, and your health and your stamina at moderate levels. It's not too difficult to survive in the game because there's blackberry bushes that are scattered all over the place that give you 2% hydration and energy per blackberry. So if you're ever constantly feeling that you are hungry or starving to death or becoming hydrated, just look for those beautiful yellow bushes, pick a couple berries, and you'll be back. The one constant for the blackberries are the fact that it takes a lot of time to earn your hydration and energy back. You have to constantly be sitting there and eating blackberries over and over and over and over, whereas opposed to drinking a bottle of blackberry juice, for instance, which gives you back something like 70% hydration with 15 energy, or eating a wolf steak or a bear steak or a piece of meat or canned food. They're there to help you survive, but they're also a huge pain in the ass. If you're starving or dehydrated in a major city when there's a lot of players around you, the last thing you want to do is stand still for a full minute eating blackberries. That's just headshot bait. So there is a balance to it. Survival and in the game isn't too difficult at this time because of the blackberries that are in the game. But if you're only eating blackberries, you're going to be finding yourself always struggling and being around 20% hydration and energy until you find a better source. So it's always important to keep a couple dozen blackberries on your character at all times. They don't take up much space. When it comes to health, you can lose health by bleeding out temporarily from zombies. They can hit you, that does blunt damage, and then you'll start to bleed. You can get attacked by wolves and bears. Bears do by far the most damage out of any AI in the game. One swipe is 40% health damage. Obviously, getting hit by players with melee or ranged attacks are going to do an ample amount of damage. You can also eat raw meat and drink dirty water, which does damage to you. All of which, everything that I just said, can also be healed by bandages. So if you have a sore stomach, don't worry, a cloth bandage is going to fix you up. So everything kind of takes away from your overall health, and one bandage will get you back 10% health. You can get bandages, you can get gauze, you can get first aid kits, you name it that's in the game. You can take cold medication, which doesn't have too much value other than making swizzle, which is fucking sweet. Swizzle is a little bit of a drug joke in the game where you drink it and you go super quick. It's actually pretty cool for survival situations. If you're being surrounded by a gang of enemy players, drink some swizzle and you're fucking out of there. So overall, survival is fun. It does feel challenging, but there's a balance there. It's not impossible. They make it so there's always options available to you, and you're not constantly finding yourself starving on every single character that you start up. So I think it's really fun, and I think that's what the most important thing about H1Z1 is. It's not, oh shit, I just starved to death for the 15th time. I can't fucking start a character in this game. I hate this game. I'm going to stop playing. It's, I'm kind of struggling. I can pick some blackberries, but I'm going to need to find something better in order to have a better place in this world. So that's my opinion about survival currently in the state of the game. Items and looting, the staple points of any survival game. In order to survive, typically you need to find some items. And the best way to do that in H1Z1 is getting out there and searching through some houses, taking a look through some garbage cans, and looting some desolate buildings sorted around the world. And this is, I think, another really strong point. H1Z1 does this really well. You can go into a building and almost search everything you find, from the cupboards to the fridge to the closets. There's items that spawn on shelves, hidden in corners. When it's nighttime, you need to have your flashlight out to make sure that you search every single area in bathtubs. You know, things are smartly placed. Like if you want to find medicine, it's typically in the bathroom closet or cupboards. If you want to find water, you can find it in kitchens or, you know, in shelves. And if you want to find, you know, industrial equipment like hammers and crowbars, you know, you typically look in garages or industrial areas. So it's spread out in the game, and you never feel like, oh, I just searched a fridge and I just found a wood axe. No. It doesn't work like that. I think it's really well done. There's a balance. There's actually, I would say there's 3 types of ways of getting loot other than airdrops and crates that you find in the world. Number 1, looting cabinets and containers. So this was just recently patched, and this is the items that you will find inside of any container that you look in the game. And these items have a chance of respawning. It's very low. But they're going to be giving you a range, a large assortment of items depending on what container you loot. And it's still unclear what container has a chance of spawning what loot, but I can give you an idea that think smart about it. You know, put yourself in a real life situation. Where am I going to go to find a crowbar? I'm going to go to a garage, a car garage. I'm going to go to maybe a gas station. I'm going to go to maybe an industrial complex or a construction site. If you're looking for food, I'm going to be looking through some you know, residential buildings, some apartments, maybe a grocery store. Hey, I'm looking for a wood axe. Let's go to a home betterment department, one of those large department stores that have those types of items. You know, it's you just got to think smart about it. And you know, if you're looking for a fire axe, for instance, go to the fire station. You'll find one. So it's not like you have to break it down very analytically to find the items that you want. You just got to think smartly about it, and it works, which is why I think this is one of the best looting systems in a survival game right now. Third, you have zombie loot sacks, and I've already talked about that before, but whenever you kill a zombie, you have a chance of getting some ammunition, some cloth, a worn letter, which almost deserves its own video, which is a quest key, which takes you on a large journey to find a quest crate, which gives you amazing loot, like a weapon, a backpack, a compass, some food. It's really awesome. Whenever you find a warrant letter, make sure you do it. And also, this is the most innovative thing ever. When a player dies in the world and their items are not looted, it goes into the zombie loot cycle. You can kill a zombie and have a small chance of finding items from a dead player. How cool is that? They're not in pristine condition, of course. They're really damaged, especially the weapons. But I find that just really awesome. You see zombies roaming around with dead players' gear. It just adds a little bit of immersion to the game, and it's pretty sweet. It's awesome. And also gives you something to do. Go out and farm some zombies. If you're having problems finding loot, sit in Pleasant Valley's Romero's shopping center and start killing zombies. And you'll start finding some loot and start surviving. It's a cool, innovative way of adding zombie loot and goals to the game. It's something that my group always does. If we're low on supplies, we go zombie farming. It's just a way we get some warned letters, we get some guns, we go on some quests, we run into some players because we're going after the quest and it's a long travel. It just adds to the experience. So I think it's really awesome. So good job on the zombie looting as well. I don't really have any issues with it. Maybe making it a little bit rare for the player looting. But other than that, I mean, I can't complain about it. It's a lot of fun. Player interactions. So this is probably something that needs a little bit of work. But for week 1, it's not so bad. Whenever you're interacting with players, there really isn't much more that you can do other than either kill them or let them live. There's a lot of little emotes that you can do. You can wave at people, you can flip people off, you can dance, you can tell people to follow you, you can do all this and all that. You can put your hands up in the air and stuff and run around really funny like. But you cannot really rob somebody successfully. You can't see what weapons they have. You don't know if they even have a backpack in some cases because the framed backpack and the satchel, you can't see that on a player. And there's no interaction to rob them. So if there's one area of the game that I think really needs some work and this is something that they've already confirmed, is handcuffs and robbing and searching people's inventories whenever their hands are up. I think that's enough. If their hands are up, you should be able to search them. And without actually putting handcuffs on them. Because sometimes a group of players, they're not bandits, they're survivors. They find somebody who's lurking around them. They say, hey, put your hands up, we're going to quickly search you. They see that he has a weapon, they just strip him of his ammo, they still let him have his gun, and then that ensures that, hey, they're going to be safe to travel, he's not going to be following them, trying to kill them, and he can go on his merry way, and he can survive and continue and bring that story along in his character's life. Like most successful survival MMOs, there is direct chat in the game, and it's pretty much just a no-brainer. In order to have a game in this genre, there needs to be direct communication. To be able to communicate with your squad, other players in the world, you need to be able to actually have voice chat. And H1Z1's voice chat function works really well, so there's nothing more to say. It's nothing amazing, it's not better than anyone else's direct communication in my opinion. It's just good and standard, it works. There's no radios or anything yet. I know that's something that they want to add. And there's also going to be a player radio station that they've been working on to kind of tell the story about H1Z1 to kind of feed into the roleplay a little bit, and that's going to be coming very soon. So other than that, player interactions, it's okay for week 1, but needs some work, especially when it comes to giving players more options. Base building. So H1Z1 features a base building craftable system where you can build a foundation, you can put up walls, little shacks, you can lock metal gates, doors, build small shelters. It's pretty awesome. Not gonna lie, it's pretty good, especially for an early access game. There hasn't really been any other game out there, I believe, other than Rust, that has offered base building at this extensive level so early on in development. So I'll give them that. I think it does need some work though, especially when it comes to the amount of time that is spent to build these types of bases. We had a squad of 6 people today, and we were able to build a wood foundation that was raised off the ground, surround it with metal walls, build 3 shelters, 1 set of stairs, 2 dew collectors, a furnace, in just about under 2.5 hours with 1 crowbar. So It did help us out that the servers just restarted and we're able to search a lot of cars to get metal sheets. But I think it should take a little bit longer than that. I'm not too sure. It may hinder the fun, and we have to remember that H1Z1 is trying to become a fun game, not realistic. So I think maybe making it a little bit more difficult to find scrap metal and metal sheets, and making it more difficult to find crowbars and hammers and things like that to upkeep your base will be a great thing. But I do also like the fact that you can melt down your items. So if you find hatchets, tools, pipes, anything that contains metal, weapons, you can melt them down into metal bars and then make metal sheets, which can be used to craft your base. So you can literally go on a loot run and say, oh yeah, I found a couple hammers, I found a couple metal pipes, I found a few metal sheets and some scraps. You can come back to your base and actually make something with that, melt it down in your furnace. I think that's great. It's a cool idea. Other than that, you can also make little wooden shacks if you don't have a big group of players and you want to play solo. You can make metal shelter or wood shelters and shacks and put metal doors. I would suggest definitely put a metal door on those shacks if you can, but those usually get raided and broken into rather easily, whereas the metal gates are actually pretty hard to get into. You need a large group of people, enough hatchets and items to break open the gates. It takes a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. The more effort it takes for somebody to get into the base, the less likely someone's going to spend all that time to do it, unless you have a massive group of people. I find with all the foundation bases, it's a pretty good balance. We've had a base that's been up for now, I think 6 or 7 days, and it hasn't been broken into. We've just built a brand new base today, so it's going to be interesting to see how long it's going to take for them to get broken into. But it's pretty fun. I do like the foundation feature. I just wish there was more modular base building. I think H1Z1 could use some more modular base building. You can also barricade houses, but the barricading isn't as good as building your own metal base. Doors can be broken into with hatchets in a pretty fast amount of time. It would be cool if you could place metal doors and gates inside of houses unrestricted from foundations. That would be a cool idea, because that will allow people to actually barricade into houses and make those bases their own with lockable doors instead of just barricading it up, waiting for some noob with a hatchet to break it down and steal all their hard-earned items. Hoping for that. We'll see what happens. Zombies. Okay, so one of the most important things about the game as well is the zombies, and I've already touched on a number of cool features from the zombies, but we're going to be talking about just the overall feel of the zombies in H1Z1. They're much more interactive than other titles. They don't clip through walls or floors as much as other titles. It's very rare if they do glitch out. They spawn at a relatively decent speed, and at a pretty decent distance away from you, so you don't really notice it too much. Zombies reward you for killing them, where in other games, not so much. So if you see a zombie, you're more inclined to go over and kill them with a chance of actually getting something cool, than opposed to, oh yeah, those are just a bunch of zombies, we're gonna fucking ignore them because they're useless, they can't chase us, they can't kill us. Zombies in this game can do some damage. They can hit you. There's a number of ways you can avoid that. You can press the Q key to push a zombie back and then quickly aim up your arrow and shoot them in the head. That's probably the most effective way of doing it. If you don't have arrows, you're going to have a pretty bad time. Meleeing zombies is really not a good thing to do. Even with the best melee weapons in the game, you'll take damage. So no matter what, you can't really strafe around zombies, which I think is a good idea. Strafing around zombies kind of makes them feel weak. And even if you strafe around them, they'll still be able to hit you. Even when they fall down on their ass and they're not completely killed, they'll still be able to damage you. I think that's a good thing. They need to be able to do a decent amount of damage to make them a decent threat, but not impossible. And that's what they're designed. If you're an experienced player, you've played maybe 10 hours of the game, you're probably not going to be finding zombies that difficult. You're going to be pushing them back, you're going to be shooting them with the bow at a distance, you're going to be killing them. When you get a large amount of zombies on you, it gets a little bit challenging, but nothing that is too impossible to handle. So I think it's a good balance. I would like to see more difficult zombies in the game, but right now I can't complain. they're really well done for the amount of time that has been spent in the game and how early on it is with early access. So I would say more zombies, especially in the cities and around rare items. If there's like a gun that spawns, you should have like 10-15 zombies just chilling around that gun to make it very difficult to get into. So I think more zombies would be great. I think it's clear that the engine can handle dozens of more zombies without actually affecting performance. So I think instead of adding more players to the game, they should be adding more zombies to the game. There's two topics that I didn't cover in this video: crafting system and vehicles. If you guys want to see some vehicle gameplay, definitely check out my off-roader video. It's some live gameplay where we fix up an off-road and take it for a drive. It's very simple. To get a vehicle up and going, you need a battery and spark plugs. You put it in the vehicle and it's good. You can fuel it up with biofuel by putting animal fat in a fire, and that's pretty much it. You can also make ethanol, but currently wheat is not in the game and yeast, so that current crafting system isn't in the game. I also didn't talk about the actual crafting system, but I think I'm going to be making a separate video specifically to talk about that in the future. Well guys, the consensus is H1Z1 a game worth picking up? And I truly believe it is. It's one of the only survival MMOs other than DayZ that I picked up and actually enjoyed. I've been playing H1Z1 every single day exclusively. I haven't been playing DayZ standalone at all. I'm basically waiting for DayZ standalone to fix their hacking issue until I jump back into the game, which it will happen over time. And I'm not going to get into the argument of which game is better, because I think they're both different in their own respect. You know, you can't really compare Call of Duty to Battlefield 4. They just play very different from each other. And the same can be said for H1Z1 and DayZ standalone. They can both coexist. They can both be very popular games, and competition is a good thing. If H1Z1 does something, you know, really cool, maybe DayZ can learn from it, and vice versa. So let's just let these two games reside in the same community. You don't have to pick one or the other. There's so many arguments about it. It's frustrating. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, found it somewhat useful, and if you did, leave a like, tell me what you think in the comment section below, and definitely I want to see what your guys' thoughts on H1Z1 so far. Do you think it's a great game? Do you think it's a bad game? Let me know, and I'd love to hear from you. Alright guys, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one.